Clippers as part of its response to the wildfires that are ravaging the Los Angeles area. The Lakers were supposed to host the Spurs. The Clippers were supposed to host the Hornets. No makeup dates have been announced, and the league did not say if more games would be affected. You can count Lakers head coach J.J. Redick among the countless area residents who have been displaced by these fires, as the home he and his family have been renting in Pacific Palisades is gone.
I was not prepared for what I saw. It is, it's complete devastation and destruction. I, had to go kind of a different way to the house, but I went through most of the village and it's all gone. And I don't think you can ever prepare yourself for something like that. Our home is gone, and we move out here, and the Palisades community has really just been so good to us. And I think that's the part for us that we're really struggling with, is just the loss of community. And I've recognized that people make up community, and we're going to rebuild, and we want to help lead on that. But all the churches, the schools, the library, it's all gone. We obviously want to give people hope, and we want to give people, I don't want to say a distraction, but maybe an escape. And we talked about it as a group before practice. It is our responsibility, everybody in this building, to lead on this and to help people.
The Lakers out on trading for former Laker Kyle Kuzma. What this might mean about the Lakers' efforts on the trade front ahead of the February 6th trade deadline. I'm Trevor Lane. This is the Lakers Nation YouTube channel. Hit the subscribe button, everybody. Right now, only about 40% of you watching this video are actually subscribed. The other 60%, you know what to do. Hit that subscribe button. All right, let's get into it. This is the latest from Brett Siegel of Clutch Points, stating that Kyle Kuzma was drawing trade interest from several teams before the holiday season. His market has since cooled, however. The Sacramento Kings remain a team to watch for the Wizards if they strike out on a trade with the Nets for Cam Johnson. Both the Warriors and Lakers have backed off from pursuing Kuzma after striking deals for Dennis Schroeder and Dorian Finney-Smith, respectively, and the Pacers have also gone silent regarding Kuzma for the time being. So Kyle Kuzma's trade market is very quickly drying up. Doesn't seem like there's a lot of teams that, number one, have the capability to trade for Kyle Kuzma, or number two, have the desire to trade for him. And I do think his market is going to be very much tied to Cam Johnson, who does seem to be the wing in the highest demand out there right now. There are other players. Of course, the big fish, right? Jimmy Butler, the superstar that's on the trade market, but we know that is a very complicated and messy situation going on in Miami. But in terms of the really realistically available wings that are out there, there's Brandon Ingram, but teams would have to be willing to pay him on his next contract. So far, they're not willing to do that. There's guys like Jeremy Grant, of course, Cam Johnson, Kyle Kuzma, a number of other players that are out there on the wing right now. But it does seem like the Cam Johnson piece has to be the first domino to fall, because he's the player garnering the most interest. The Sacramento Kings tried to trade for Kyle Kuzma years ago with the Lakers. They had a deal that would have landed Kyle Kuzma in Sacramento with Buddy Hield coming back to LA, but the Lakers instead traded for Russell Westbrook. Whoops. But in any event, the Lakers, should they be out on Kyle Kuzma right now just because they landed Dorian Finney-Smith? Well, look, a lot of people have very fond memories of Kyle Kuzma with the Lakers, and he was pretty good for the team. I did think at the time that him moving to the Washington Wizards in the Russell Westbrook trade was actually the best thing for Kyle Kuzma, that he needed an opportunity to kind of spread his wings where he's not playing behind LeBron James and Anthony Davis. But now there's been talk about, should the Lakers try to bring him back? And contractually, he's on a really nice deal, but you look at what he's done this season, it's only 18 games played. He's been in and out due to injuries, but you look at the three-point shooting, it's just not there, 27% from three. Now, over his career, he's a better three-point shooter than that, but 33%, 34% if we round up. Is that enough to really get excited about? And then is he that defensive piece that you're really looking for at the wing position? I don't think so. And I think the Lakers have kind of already checked that box with Dorian Finney-Smith. Had they not gotten Dorian Finney-Smith, you could argue there's a real need for Kyle Kuzma. You can also make the argument, frankly, everybody, that you can never have enough wings in today's NBA. And that's something that I say frequently. But nonetheless, I do think that Dorian Finney-Smith checks the boxes that you need already. And when we really look at this kind of a trade, if you were to trade for Kyle Kuzma, in terms of stacking up salaries, that's where it really gets challenging and trying to make something work that makes sense, because in most cases, you're going to have to do something around Rui Hachimura. Kyle Kuzma making $23 million. And this is actually, I wouldn't mind if the Lakers did something like this with Dorian Finney-Smith's contract. Not the same numbers, but in terms of a declining salary, Dorian Finney-Smith becomes extension eligible on February 10th. So that'll be something to keep an eye on. Maybe the Lakers can reach an extension with DFS. And then if they could find a way to do a contract like this that is actually declining in value as time goes on, that would insulate them to some degree against any kind of a decline as Dorian Finney-Smith gets older. But nonetheless, Kyle Kuzma, $23.5 million under contract this season, $21.5 million the next season, and then just $19.5 million the season after that. So if the Lakers were to trade for Kyle Kuzma, which they can, the problem is that you would almost certainly have to build a trade off of Rui Hachimura. And that issues another interesting question. Like, would you rather have Kyle Kuzma or Rui Hachimura? Now, I think that Kuzma is a bit more versatile. He can do more things than Rui can, but it's not like Rui. And Rui, he's had his struggles off ball. Don't get me wrong. He's had his struggles, but he's also not been bad for the Lakers. He's also younger than Kyle Kuzma. The Lakers have him on the books at just $17 million. So if you're the Lakers and you really want Kyle Kuzma, you essentially have to stack up Rui Hachimura, unless you can do Gabe Vincent and Jared Vanderbilt, who, by the way, we got great news on Jared Vanderbilt this morning. He went and practiced with the South Bay Lakers, has already been recalled to the Lakers, to the main team, so that he can practice with them today, which means a return is imminent for Jared Vanderbilt. It's coming sooner rather than later. We don't know as of right now when it's coming, but you would have to do something if you weren't to put in Rui Hachimura. You'd have to do something around, say, Jared Vanderbilt, Gabe Vincent, Austin Reeves. You would need some of those salaries to put in. And if I'm the Washington Wizards, I'm not interested in taking on Jared Vanderbilt's remaining 3 years under contract. I'm not interested in Gabe Vincent next year. Rui Hachimura, I don't even know if the Wizards would want a reunion with him either. Maybe you'd have to have a 3-team trade, but you'd probably need Rui's salary going out, which then begs the question, if you turn Rui Hachimura into Kyle Kuzma, let's say it's Rui plus a couple of minimum contracts or something to try to make the math work for Kyle Kuzma, are the Lakers better? And are they significantly better? Because I'll tell you what, Washington, they're going to want something significant back. They're going to want first-round draft capital. So for the Lakers, are you really getting that much better? I think you do get better. If you turn Rui Hachimura into Kyle Kuzma, I do think you're probably a bit better as a team, but how much better? Enough to where it's worth to put in a future first-round pick? Probably not. And that's where the value dynamic, particularly now that the Lakers have Dorian Finney-Smith, you've already checked that box on the wing. I like Kyle Kuzma, former Laker, fond memories, obviously won a championship with Kyle Kuzma on the roster, but I think it just doesn't make sense from the Lakers' perspective. Now that you've got Dorian Finney-Smith on the roster, you've got Jared Vanderbilt, fingers crossed, hopefully coming back. Even as somebody who says you can't have enough wings in today's NBA, I just don't see the need to go get Kyle Kuzma. I do see a much stronger need at the center position. I see a much stronger need at the guard position, adding athleticism to the roster, adding defensive switchability, adding guys who are going to focus more on that side of the ball, that are going to try to help you on the glass, that are going to help you contain on the perimeter. I think these are more pressing needs for the Lakers, and Kyle Kuzma doesn't, well, he can help you a bit rebounding. He doesn't necessarily check those boxes for you. So I do think that this report from Brett Siegel is an important one. And I think it does suggest that while there's some word out there that the Lakers, they might be looking at the wing position, we'll see what Jared Vanderbilt looks like if and when he does officially fully come back.